Hey, what's going on, guys? What's happening? YouTube, you guys have tuned into Rules for Rebels. We got kind of a fun and interesting story for you guys today that has to do with like trademarks and trademark infringement. The Subway sandwich franchise, the Subway sandwich company, has sued a cannabis dispensary called BudWay, and a judge ruled that BudWay must change their name, change their sign, and destroy any and all products, packaging, and marketing materials that bear the BudWay name. In addition to that, BudWay must pay Subway $40,000. I know a gentleman who watches the channel and is pretty active and comments on the channel, Icarus or Icarus. He's been a great resource of information on some previous trademark stories. I think he said his sister or sister-in-law is a trademark and patent attorney, so would be interested to hear in kind of any insights he has on this story. This one did happen in Canada, so it might be a little bit different than here in the U.S. The reason for trademarks are so that, one company can't name themselves something similar to another company and, kind of trick the general public, trick customers, and steal business. So, for example, I couldn't create a company called McDonald's with two S's, still use the golden arches, but maybe make my golden arches red, and, basically try to piggyback off the McDonald's name. Whenever we think about this, I always think about Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, right? Like Bitcoin Cash is kind of piggybacking off of the Bitcoin name, as is Bitcoin, Bitcoin SV and Bitcoin Gold and all these other Bitcoins. Typically how these things kind of work out is basically the courts kind of ask, would a consumer, would somebody in the general public confuse these two companies, right? Like, would somebody accidentally go to BudWay when they were planning on going to Subway? Would this cause them to lose business? I don't think anybody's really going to confuse Subway with BudWay, but it sounds like the judge ruled that both companies do sell food products, so they are in kind of the same industry. That's one of the things that comes into play. If I have like a driveway seal coating company called, Fireman Seal Coating, and then you have something like, I know it's Firehouse Subs, but let's just say, for example, Fireman Subs, nobody's going to confuse a driveway sealing company with a food restaurant. But because these guys both sell quote unquote food stuffs, that makes everything kind of a little bit murkier. And then also, I'd be curious to know if they didn't kind of steal the Subway kind of logo and colors and font. If this might have gotten ruled a different way, but like not only is it BudWay, they also have kind of the same letters, the same colors, the same font, and even though they're not really in the same industry, I guess they both sell food. So let's take a look at this story. Cannabis dispensary BudWay must pay $40,000 after Subway sues over trademark. Decision, a reminder that homage to a well-known brand can lead into dangerous legal territory. Now, I'm curious to know how often this really happens, because if you think about it, there are a lot of, like, if you've ever been to a marijuana dispensary or even just, see stuff online, there are a lot of companies that basically come up with clever names that piggyback off the original name. So I'm probably going to struggle to, off the top of my head, come up with one, but like instead of like Reese's Pieces, it might be like, Reese's, I don't know, I can't think of a name, but you guys get the point. I know when I've been into marijuana dispensaries, I'll oftentimes see, candies kind of piggybacking off the logo and the name of the original product. But here I think it's a little bit different because it's actually the brand name, it's the name of the store. No one ever accused BudWay Cannabis Dispensary of being subtle. The Vancouver store's logo features light and dark green letters with arrows on them set against an oval background, a nod to Subway sandwich chain that a federal court judge has found too overt. BudWay's mascot is a seemingly stoned, joint-smoking, marijuana-filled submarine sandwich whose motto reads, "It's the BudWay." But Justice Nicholas McAfee said there's no way BudWay can continue infringing on Subway's trademark. The decision is a primer on trademark law and a reminder that a friendly homage to a well-known brand can lead into dangerous legal territory. And I think probably the biggest thing for Subway is the connotation to marijuana, right? Marijuana still has somewhat of a stigma, and I imagine Subway doesn't want their brand being, kind of confused or commingled with marijuana. The decision is the judge ordered BudWay's owner to pay the chain $40,000 this week and to destroy any signs, goods, packages, and labels marked with the cannabis dispensary's not so distinctive logo. Although there was no evidence the tiny company actually ate into Subway's annual $1.8 billion Canadian sales in this country, McAfee found BudWay had effectively tried to borrow on Subway's reputation to sell its products. His analysis of the case began with the resemblance between the two logos. In each case, the word element of the mark is similar, with similarities in letters and pronunciation between Subway and BudWay being self-evident, McAfee wrote. The fact that BudWay excuse me, The fact that BudWay is not a word in itself means that it would tend to read in a manner to connotate the common words Subway. Both parties offer foodstuffs and edible products. McAfee is the same judge who ordered Herbs R Us, Herbs R Us Wellness Society, to pay $30,000 to Toys R Us Canada last year after a similar change. The case McAfee found Herbs R Us was using a trademark in a way that might depreciate goodwill attached to a toy retailer. But he said in a decision that there wasn't much a chance of consumers mixing up the two companies because Toys R Us was associated with product lines that are light years away from the products being sold by Herbs R Us. And what's kind of interesting about this story is we kind of see kind of the mindset or the thought process that goes behind, kind of deciding, is a company infringing on a trademark, right? Like, are they trying to copy the logo? Is there a similar sound between the words? Does the word stand alone on itself, or is it piggybacking off of another word? Are these two companies in different industries? So it kind of sheds some light on kind of the thought process behind, kind of how these rulings are made. Not so with BudWay, whose promotions include 10% off edibles on Munchie Mondays. As Subway notes, their ingredients may differ, but both parties offer foodstuff and edible products to their consumers, McAfee wrote. I also agree with Subway that the respondents' use of a submarine sandwich mascot and references to Munchies draws the goods into closer comparison. Champagne and women's wear, so here I think they're going to go into some other similar recent examples. Canada's Trademark Act gives the owner of a trademark exclusive rights. Infringement happens when someone else sells, distributes, or advertises a product with a trademark that's confusing, and it creates the impression the goods and services are associated with the owner of the other exclusive trademark. According to the decision, the test for confusion is first impression in the mind of a casual consumer somewhat in a hurry. Battles over trademarks have gone all the way up to the Supreme Court of Canada. In 2006, French champagne maker Veuve Clicquot challenged a Quebec women's clothing store called Boutiques Clicquot. Canada's top court ruled against the champagne maker. The difference between the appellate's luxury champagne and the responder's mid-priced women's wear is significant, the court found. While some trademarks transcend the wares, services, and businesses which they were originally associated with, no witness in this case suggested that Veuve Clicquot mark would be associated by ordinary consumers with mid-priced women's clothing. McAfee found that BudWay, on the other hand, was doing its best to link its products with Subway. Exhibit A, the mascot. It's clear from BudWay's use of the mascot from the Subway sandwich mascot that such a linkage was intended and considered desirable, the judge wrote. McAfee said BudWay threatened the goodwill of Subway's trademark had earned through its association with a healthy and active lifestyle. I don't know that I would call Subway healthy and active. I believe a lot of countries recently came out and said Subway isn't allowed to call their bread because maybe it was in France. And, the French take their bread pretty seriously. But I think the ingredients in Subway bread are so fake and artificial that I want to say it's France, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, that they're not even allowed to call their bread. Getting sidetracked there. Subway's lawyer said the situation was only made worse by the somewhat down-market exterior appearance of BudWay's physical location. The man identified as BudWay's owner did not respond to the lawsuit. He also did not return a request for comment. And I believe we did see comments here. Let's see, what do people have to say? There's a reason why it's called dope. It rots your brain. Sounds like the owner was stoned when he made up the sign. Kind of reminds me of Canadian Tire trying to take over the nickname Crappy Tire. In related news, the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority is expected to sue the Subway Sandwich Company for its unauthorized use of the word Subway, coined by Bostonians in the late 19th century. My dad was in advertising, and companies spend huge money developing their brand. He developed logos, etc. This person should develop their own brand. So we'll cut it off there. Let me know what you guys think about this story. Should the judge have ruled in the case of Subway, or should BudWay be allowed to piggyback off the name? Is this clearly not the same company? Is it just parody? Let me know your thoughts. If you guys enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit that subscribe button below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, ring the bell, hit the, I'm all fucked up. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button below, ring the bell, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.